All the praise, the honor, and the glory go to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Peace, safety to the hopefully elect. All the sincere brothers and sisters out there, those scattered to the four corners that truly believe in the Heavenly Father through His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. And in this lesson, this is a rebuttal to those guys at Genesis, man. The rapping deacon, man. All right, the self-proclaimed priest, formerly of Sakari. And in my previous video, I went into how these guys trying to discredit Paul. All right, and basically, my belief is they doing it because Paul writings crushes their old covenant doctrine. All right, so by getting rid of Paul or discrediting Paul, it kind of discredit the old covenant being done away with, and the new covenant being instituted at this present time. But dealing with 1 Corinthians chapter 8, these guys say that Paul was teaching idolatry. Just like the Apostle Peter said, these guys is unlearned and unstable, man, and they don't understand Paul writing. So I'm going to go into it and give you some edification on what the Apostle Paul was referring to. So this is First Corinthians, this chapter 8. I start at verse 4. It says, as concerning therefore eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols. And basically these guys say that Paul teaches that you can eat meat sacrificed to idols, basically calling the Apostle Paul an idolater, man. When Yahweh Shai himself co-signed Paul and said that Paul was a chosen vessel, all right, unto himself. So right there, that's blasphemy, man. All right, that's blasphemy. And it says we know that an idol is nothing in the world. And the brothers in the know, the true elect, those who truly follow Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai in sincerity and truth, we know that, man, that an idol is nothing in the world, man. It says, and that there is none other God but one. All right, there's no other God but one. So these false idols that they're sacrificing to is nothing, man. All right, they're not even gods, man. All right, these just figment of these people's imagination. All right, so it says, for though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us, the true believers, man. All right, not just an Israelite, but an Israelite of God, man. All right, those who are referred to in the scriptures as the chosen, not those who was called like you guys. Remember, many is called, but few are chosen, and that word chosen is referring to the elect. All right. So this is not for all Israel, and that's where you guys are confused at. All right, you think that he's speaking to all Israelites as a nation. No, Paul is referred to us here is referring to the elect, man. So he says, for though it says, but to us there be Salakia, but to us there is but one God, the Father of whom are all things, okay? It says, even we in him, and one Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. Verse 7, how about there is, it says, there is not in every man that knowledge. So every man don't have that type of knowledge, man. All right? Especially you guys that say you're in the old covenant, you don't have that type of knowledge, man. Okay? This is talking about those who are under the new contract, man, the new covenant, man. Okay? That's who he's referring to. Because Paul was a minister of the reconciliation, man. All right, those who was reconciled back to Yahweh Shai, to Yahweh, through Yahweh Shai, man, through the shedding of his blood. So every man don't have this type of knowledge, all right? And it's proven time and time again, all right, how you guys breaking down the scriptures wrong. And that goes for all you old covenant guys, even some of you new covenant guys, man, because you're also lying on the Apostle Paul as well, saying that he uh, was a minister to the heathens, to the natural heathens. All right, that those Gentiles uh, that he went to minister to was heathens, natural heathens, when that wasn't the case, man. All right, Paul didn't teach nothing different than Yahweh Shai, man. All right, he tells you that. All right, in his letters, man. All right, he's a servant of the Lord, man, and the Lord Himself co-signed Paul. Okay, he said that Paul was one of the elect. So it says, every man have not. It says, how about there is not in every man that knowledge? For some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto idols. So if your consciousness believe that that idol is real, all right, then you eating it, or you're eating that meat unto that idol, man. Okay. See, the elect, us that have the knowledge that's under the new covenant, all right, we know that idols are not real, man. All right, it's just a figment of people's imagination, man. They're just something that they want to believe. All right, just because they believe in that idol don't make it true. Okay, we know that based on the scriptures. There's only one God, man. Okay, so it says, and their conscience being weak is defiled. Okay, is it being weak is defiled. Let's read that again, verse 7. How about there is not in every man that knowledge? For some with consciousness of the idol until this hour eat it as a thing offered unto the idol, and their consciousness being weak is defiled. All right, so if you believe in the idol, that the idol truly exists, then of course it's going to be a defiled thing to you, an unclean thing to you. All right, now this is not saying that you can go eat pork, crab, and lobsters and shrimp, because that's not food to begin with. Okay, that's not food to begin with. We are talking about things that we're able to eat. All right, that's lawful to eat. That's clean meats, man. All right, we're not talking about possum, frogs, uh, uh, pork, shrimp. This is not food. According to the scriptures, this is not food. So we're not talking about that, because you'll have a simpleton say, oh, so that means you can eat anything. All right. No, you can't eat glue. You can't eat paper, bro. That's not food. All right. It's talking about food. Okay. Food. What's deemed as food according to the scriptures, man. So it says, verse 8, it says, but meat commandeth us not to God. For neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worse. But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. So basically, Paul saying, if brothers, novice, newcomers in the truth, or these over righteous Israelites, all right, if you in their company, all right, then just so they won't stumble, just abstain from it, man. All right, because these guys like to what it says, uh, uh, they over righteous, man. Okay, they over righteous. You got a lot of Israelites that's over righteous. All right, so that's what he's talking about. If they're a weak brother, it'll become a stumbling block to that brother. So it says, for if any man see thee which have knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the consciousness of him which is weak be embroidered to eat those things which are offered unto idols? All right, so you might influence a brother, all right, a brother being weak, all right. And like I said in the beginning, that if you believe that idols is real and they exist, all right, in your consciousness, meaning in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul, all right, If you don't believe that, then it's just meat, man. Okay, it's just meat. It's just food, man. Because basically everything we eat, all right, in this kingdom, man, is defiled, man. All right, all the meats and products you buy from the grocery store, they're defiled, man. Unless you raising those animals yourself, you don't know uh uh what type of sacrifice to what idol that these people are producing these products, all right, that we buy from the grocery store, man. So that's being over righteous, man. Okay, that's being over righteous. It says, but it says, and though it says, and through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, from whom Yahweh shall died. But when ye sin so great against the brethren, and wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Yahweh Shai. And to sin against Yahweh Shai is to mean he have a law. Remember, a sin is a transgression of the law. So what law is he referring to? All right. The law of Christ, Galatians 6:2. Let's read that again. And wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Yahweh Shai. All right, you guys teach that the only way you can sin is against the Mosaic law, a transgression of the Mosaic law. That's what a sin is. But right here, it say you sin against Yahweh Shai. So that's proof that Yahweh Shai have a law. All right, and it says, wherefore, if meat make thy brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. And that's what I was explaining. But let's get a precept and show you, bring some more understanding. Let's go to the book of Romans. Go to the book of Romans, chapter 14. So this is Romans chapter 14, and I'll read verse 14. It says, I know, and am persuaded by the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach that there is nothing unclean of itself. See, nothing unclean of itself. All right, it's the uh the sacrifice to idols what make it unclean. All right, spiritually. All right, not physically. All right, you're not going to eat unclean meat such as pork. Okay, because that's not food. All right, that's not considered food. All right, so we're not talking about pork and crab and lobster and possum and coon and whatever else kind of uh weird meats that people eat, man. People eat all kind of things, man. All right. So we know what's considered food according to our culture, man. Okay. The heritage, the culture that the Lord gave to the Israelites. All right. These heathens, they eat octopus. They eat all kind of weird foods. All right. Which to us is not food. Okay. So we're talking about food based on the dietary laws that we were given. Okay. So it says, I know and I'm persuaded by the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth, anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. All right, just like it read in 1 Corinthians 8. All right. If you esteem it as unclean, then it become unclean. All right. But we don't acknowledge or recognize those idols. All right. We don't acknowledge or recognize those idols. All right. So there's no way that that meat can become unclean to us. All right. Spiritually. Okay. So that's the point. Now let's get one last precept and see this is the main issue with these guys. They don't acknowledge Yahweh Shai, man. They don't keep his words. All right. If your foundation was built upon Yahweh Shai, you will understand that Paul was not teaching idolatry. All right. And because Yahweh Shai broke it down. Let's get that in Matthew 15. Matthew 15. And let's read verse 16. So this is Matthew's chapter 15. Let's start at verse 16. It says, and Yahushua said, this is you guys' problem. You don't acknowledge the word. You don't acknowledge the word of the Lord, man, which we're commanded to do by the Heavenly Father. He said, hear ye him. All right. It's written in their law, in the Mosaic law, in your law, as Yahushua described it. Okay. That you're supposed to listen to Yahushua. So now let's hear what Yahushua got to say about uh meat sacrificed to idols. All right. Let's see what he got to say about it. It says, and Yahushua said, are ye also yet without understanding? Do not ye yet understand that whatsoever enter in at the mouth goeth into the belly and is cast out into the drought? But those things which proceedeth out of thy mouth, the things that proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. That's what defiles you, man. What's in your heart. So if you esteemeth, all right, the idol, and you eat it under those pretenses, then it is unclean unto you. Because that's what's in your thoughts. That's what's coming out of your mind, your conscience, your spirit, man. So it says, for out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts. All right. So if you believe in your heart that that meat was sacrificed to idols, all right, and it's unclean based on that, then don't eat the meat, man. Okay. Don't eat the meat. But the scriptures tell you, those who are on a higher level, who have the knowledge, all right, the elect, all right, they don't recognize those idols, all right. That's why I said if it's not uh what we just read in Romans 14, okay, if you don't esteemeth the idol, if you don't acknowledge or recognize the idol, then it's not unclean unto you. Okay, it's not unclean unto you. So it says, but those things which proceeded out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defileth the man. What come out? Your teachings, man. All right. That the wickedness that you're teaching concerning Paul, saying that he was an idolater, that's what's defiled in you, man. All right. So it says, for out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts, murder, adultery, fornication, theft, false witness, and blasphemies. All right. You guys are guilty of all that, man. You're certainly thieves and false witnesses. You're false witnessing against Paul, saying that he taught idolatry. All right. It says there are the things which defileth a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man. This was basically talking about the apostles not washing their hands, but we see in the verse it's talking about eating. All right, what goes into the belly and comes out of the drought. So it's referring to eating. All right. I just want to close. Let me read this Romans 14 again. So that's the point, man. That's the correct understanding of what the Apostle Paul was referring to, man. No different than somebody giving you uh, some money during the holidays. You're not going to say, I'm not going to take the money, all right, because you giving it to me based on the holiday, all right. We don't recognize that holiday, man. Okay, we don't even acknowledge it, man. All right, we gonna take it so it can benefit ourselves, man. And like I said, you eat, you buy groceries, all right. Everything you eat is defiled. The prophet Ezekiel prophesied about that we're gonna eat defiled amongst the Gentiles, man. All right. So it was prophesied of this. Everything you eat in this kingdom basically is sacrificed to idols, man. Okay. So this is Romans 14:14. I'm gonna close on this. It says, I know and I am persuaded by the Lord Yahweh Mashiach that there is nothing unclean of itself. There's nothing unclean of itself. But to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. All right. So if you believe it to be unclean, then it's unclean. Okay. Because Paul broke it down to you in Corinthians, man. All right. So basically, man, that's the point I want to bring out. And I hope you brothers was edified. And with that, shalom.